Hello and welcome to my channel. Today we are going to be making this motorcycle mixed media assemblage art that you see here. So let's get started with that process. So I originally just started drawing out my basic motorcycle, and I started with one idea in mind and then quickly changed to a different idea, which you'll see in a second. Don't ask me why I'm using a popsicle stick. I don't know. I just use whatever I have around me at the moment to just make shapes and kind of get a general idea of the way it will look. So my initial sketch here was more of like a cafe style motorcycle, or almost like a scooter. And I finished it and I decided to change it. And I didn't record that process of changing it because it took a while. So I decided to change it. I wanted it to be more like what you see in this second photo here, instead of what was in the first photo. The second photo is more of a cruiser style bike, and that's kind of what I wanted to go for, as opposed to the cafe style bike. So here I'm applying some texture paste. My texture paste actually went bad, and I probably shouldn't have used it, but I used it anyway. I will link to that down below in the description if you ever want to try any mixed media or assemblage art. Using texture paste can really add another element to your artwork. And I really like this brand's texture paste. I use it all the time. A little bit goes a long way, but like I said, mine went bad. It was really dried out and made it really difficult to work with. Normally it's like almost like a toothpaste consistency, but maybe a little bit thicker. This was really hard and like a hard clay. And again, I probably shouldn't have used it, but I didn't want to waste it because it can be expensive. So I just used it anyway. I mean, it worked. I added a little bit of water to it and just kind of shook it up a lot to make it a little more malleable, but need to buy some new stuff. I did have to speed up this video quite a bit. This took me from start to finish probably about 6 hours. So I didn't want to make the video 6 hours long. So this is very sped up, as most of my videos are. If you've been to my channel before, you'll see that a lot of them are sped up. Majority of them, I would say. So this is a technique that I would recommend if you are using metallics. I actually have a short about this and shows the differences between using a base coat with a metallic and not using a base coat with a metallic. I'll also link that in the description down below. So for this one, I knew I wanted the background to be gray, so I wanted it to be silver, sorry. So I did a gray base coat and then added the silver on top of that gray base coat. And that just makes it a little bit easier. Metallics are notorious for being very thin, so you use less paint by using the base coat and then adding your metallic color on top of that. I did regret using silver in the background after I thought about it a little bit. I was like, I probably shouldn't have used silver. Bikes have a lot of chrome and silver on them, so it's going to be really hard to distinguish the parts. But it was a little too late at this point, and I just said I'd figure it out. I also want to just put it out there that I am not a mechanic. I do not know a lot about cars or motorcycles. I have very basic knowledge. I am an artist, and I know marketing, and I know sales. I don't know parts on cars or motorcycles. So if I have like something in the wrong place, or it's like too high up on the motorcycle, or the exhaust is too short, just excuse my ignorance. I do the best I can. I was referencing a Harley Iron 883 originally when I made this, and then I lost the photo. So I had to look up new photos, and apparently, even though they're all like cruiser style bikes, different companies will have things either higher up or lower on the bike. So you'll see later on I do end up changing where the one thingamajig is. I don't know what it's called. I don't know what it's called. Thingamajig. I don't know. You'll see it. This was also really difficult for me because I normally don't do something this detailed with an assemblage art. The last one I did was a big crow, and I sold that one. I tried to find a picture of it to show you guys what it looked like, but I couldn't find the picture. It might be on my Instagram, but I couldn't find it on my phone anywhere. So that was all like one color of black, and then I put like a blue top coat on top of it because ravens actually have like a blue hue to their feathers. With this one, I was initially going to make the motorcycle all black, but then I thought it probably wouldn't work out because you wouldn't really see all the individual parts inside the motorcycle. So it probably shouldn't make it all black. And then I was like, well, what if I make it black and silver? And I'm like, all right, we're back to the same issue that I had making the background silver. So I decided to add a little color to it. And hopefully it's well received. I like the way it ended up looking, but I don't know, maybe somebody else doesn't. I did use a really small brush for the detailing around the bike because I didn't want to get too close to my drawing, because then I wouldn't be able to see where I needed to paint. Which brings me to my next point of why this was so difficult, because I was adding color to it. I couldn't just put on all the parts and just paint them. I had to color one section in whatever color it was going to be, and then color those parts and then add them so that I knew what the next section was going to be. Otherwise, I would lose all that individual little aspects to it that you kind of get to see more once all the little bits and things are on it. So let's just keep going here. It actually was a long time since I freehanded drew something, so I was pretty happy with the way it turned out. After I erased it and redid it like 10 times, which I didn't record that process. I have this habit of not recording things while I'm making art, and I got to get in that mindset of just pressing record. A lot of times I forget and I think I pressed record and I didn't press record, so that's also a problem. There's a lot of times where I lose the footage because I thought I pressed record and I did not. So that's fun. It's a thing that I do. Struggles of my life here. I actually did this painting over a few days. I didn't do it all in one day. So here I am getting some little bits that I knew I wanted to add to make up the motorcycle and just kind of painting them. I was really trying to find a blue gem, but I couldn't find one in any teardrop shapes, so out of what I already had. So I just went ahead and just painted that yellow and blue. And I think it ended up looking really good. You couldn't tell that it once was yellow. I thought it was fine. Maybe it's not fine. Maybe someone will look at it and be like, oh, that's not supposed to be blue, but I think it's fine. I like it. I don't know. I like the way it turned out. I did a show, I think it was last weekend. Yeah, it was last weekend. And my friend gave me a whole big container of like beads. And she knows I use beads a lot. It was just my birthday, so I think it was like, oh, here's part of your birthday present. Have all these beads. And I'm just like, oh my god, there's so many beads. But of course, none of them were the shape and the color that I needed. If they were the shape I needed, I could have just painted them, but they were not. So this is me just painting in little bits of the motorcycle. So I know that this tire is going to be black. I did later on fix this here where I had the exhaust going back so far. I did end up painting that black, that little bit at the end there. I did end up painting that black later. And those gems that you see just laying on the canvas, they're not actually attached. They were just kind of laying there because I was just kind of playing around with what I wanted to put on it and just kind of the process. So this is what I was talking about when I said I have to paint certain sections. You have to paint them in the black and the blue before you put the stuff down. Otherwise, you're going to see that underneath. So I just wanted to make sure that they were painted before I glue anything in place. But I also had to make sure that I only painted certain sections at a time. Otherwise, I would just lose what I'm doing. And I did mess up and paint things wrong. And then I went back and fixed them. Like this inside tire here, I guess it should technically be spokes, but I wasn't gonna be able to find anything to make it look like spokes. I was lucky enough to find what I did find to make it work. So I was just leaving it as the gray silver. I wasn't really too concerned about it not having spokes. So those are the two pieces that I just painted. And I actually put a little top coat on top of them, so they're a little more like of a metallic sheen to them. And I'm using the same epoxy glue that I normally use in my assemblage art. So like you can see here, these pieces that are making up the tire cover thing, technical terms, they were just sitting there. They were not glued down before. Do you like my technical knowledge of computers? Yeah, computers. Of cars and motorcycles. I mean, I guess there's computers in cars and motorcycles. Oh, my brain today. I've been at the computer taking classes all day, so my brain's just a little behind today. I painted this, and then I was like, oh no, I think I painted that the wrong color. But I didn't. I just, in my head, I thought I did, and then I didn't end up painting it the wrong color anyway, so. These chains are what I use to make the tires. I was really stuck at a loss on how to make the tires, and I like the chain idea. I don't know why it doesn't look like tires, but I just like the idea of it, so I just went with it. I said, you know what, F it, let's just go with it. Sometimes what you have to do when you're making art. Oh, do you see that little black thing there? That's the receiver for my microphone. I don't know why I left it there. I was probably messing around with it that day, and I just forgot to take it out of the shop. Ugh. My days are very busy between art and classes and trying to find a new job and taking care of the cats and the house and finding shows and doing research, and it's just I'm a very busy lady. I really need to start working out again. I just don't know where I'm going to fit that in. So there you go. I use these really big washers that I found in my basement, and that's what I use for the rims. I know that word. It's a car word. And I just got the idea to use straws as the exhaust, specifically bendy straws, because they have like that little bendy part, little scrunched up part, and I thought that would look really cool for is it the shocks? I don't know what they're called. We're gonna go with the shocks. My knowledge of cars and motorcycles. I keep saying cars, but it's a motorcycle. I'm sorry, I keep pausing, I keep yawning because I'm really tired. Those black things I use for the seat are actually black gems, and then I use these little tiny gems to just fill in some of the gaps that were there. I was really trying to not make this too feminine. I was afraid that it would look way too feminine, but it is what it is. There's only so many things I can do. And, you know, girls ride motorcycles as well. It's just, I feel like I see more guys riding them. At this point, my cat was bugging me, and you'll see him in a second here. And just, yep, there he is. He's just chewing on the wires. He's chewing on the wires. That's what he does. Look at his little face. He's such a little chonker. Try to distract him because he's going to electrocute himself. I had to stop and get him away from the wires before he hurt himself, because he will continue to chew on them. It's a crazy cat, but I love him. He's currently asleep behind me. My cats like to hang out with me all day long, which is adorable, and I love it. Okay, there was just like a really weird noise outside, and I don't know what that was. Hopefully it was a squirrel. It sounded like something fell, and hopefully it wasn't bricks, because I live in a brick house, so should probably go and check that at some point. You know, it might be useful to know these things. See if my house is falling apart. There is a chipmunk that I feed, so maybe it was the chipmunk moving around some of the nuts that he gets from me every day. But we'll just go with that. It was Nibs, or his girlfriend, or boyfriend. I don't know if Nibs is a boy or girl. That's the chipmunk. I named him Nibs because he nibbles on things and he's very adorable. These are the bendy straw pieces, I believe, that I was trying to paint, and yeah, and I'm getting paint all over my hands. Should wear gloves, constantly forget, and here we are. And this was part of the exhaust that I just kind of wanted to make it a little roughed up a little bit, you know, exhaust kind of dirty and funky. I don't know. I didn't want it to be super chromy. I wanted it to be a little bit more rustic looking. And that other piece that I have was a piece of wood that I painted for somewhere. Maybe the handlebar? I can't remember. And so I'm painting in these spaces in between. I looked at a bunch of different pictures of the style of motorcycle, and I couldn't really find anything super distinguishing in there. So I just kind of just put stuff in there. I found these buttons at the flea market, and it was like little bags of buttons, and I was so excited. And I thought maybe I can use some of them, but I didn't end up using any of them. At least I don't think I did. Maybe? Did I use one of them? No, I was going to use them on the wheels, but oh yeah, I did use one of them. I used this one. I used this one that goes in between the pieces that I think are the shocks that are the bendy parts of the straw. Whatever that thing is. And that was the thing that I changed in my drawing. So in my initial picture, it was actually up higher, but then all the pictures I looked at of motorcycles after I lost my initial picture, it was actually down lower, or the opposite. Now I don't remember. I don't know. I'd have to look at it again. It was one or the other. I moved it. I remember moving it. Let me see if I can see it here. I think I moved it up. Oh, I don't know. We'll see at the end. Who knows what I did? I don't even know what I do half the time. I'm surprised my cats deal with me. Probably only because I feed them and clean up their litter boxes and groom them every day. They're very spoiled. Very spoiled. If you've seen my other videos, you will know that they have the rule of the house and they get whatever they want because I can't say no to them. I don't know what that part's called, but a lot of them that I looked up, it was black, so I painted it black. I feel like it should have been silver, but it wasn't part of like the exhaust, so maybe it's supposed to be black. I don't really know. Oh yeah, so here we go. Here's that little black bead thing, and I actually moved it down. It was up before, but I moved it down. Haha. Figured it out. Mystery solved. I think I should have made the exhaust a little bit longer, but I don't know. I don't feel like that they're super long unless it's taken off and you extend it. I think that's a thing where you can like replace your exhaust on motorcycles. I know you can on cars, so you probably can on motorcycles. I should probably not make motorcycle mixed medias anymore. I have zero knowledge of of motorcycles. Just place thing on thing. Yeah. The only reason why I started this channel was because people would constantly come up to me in shows and say, "Oh my gosh, how did you make this?" And I would just stand there and be like, things and stuff and glue." So this birthed my channel. So thank you to everyone who ever came up to me at a show and was like, "How did you make this?" And then I just stumbled through words. And so now you have this to watch instead of me being like, people, I don't know how to talk to people. I sit at home all day. I don't go outside. I'm introverted. Leave me alone, people. It's really hard for me to do shows. I'm very introverted, so it's very exhausting, but I do them anyway. It was also really hard for me to find something that I liked for the headlight. I think I went through like, I don't know how many different options, and I finally decided on this little tiny, I think it's a charm. That's the headlight right there. I know what that is. I think it was a charm, and it was like a foot charm, but it was just like the right shape. So I just shoved it underneath there. Shoved it underneath this silver pole thing and glued it down. I think here I added some more little beads because I didn't like how there was some gaps in there. And just touched up some of the silver on the bow exhaust straws. Can you imagine if exhaust was made out of straws? It probably just melt right away, huh? Probably not a good thing. Yeah, there we go. There I am shoving it underneath. Probably should have put that down first, but I didn't, and here we are. I also decided that I felt like it should have a reflector. So I found these like little gold sequence things that I cut later on to make the reflector on the wheel part of the bike. I don't know what it's called either. I don't know. It attaches the bike to the wheel. Whatever that's called. I don't know what it is. Is it a steering column? I don't know if motorcycles have steering columns. I don't know. I mean, it sounds like that would be it, right? I'm just gonna go with it. I really like the way the bendy straws make the little crinkly things. Little crinkly things that I think are the shocks. Oh yeah, I got lazy here and I just put that sheet down on top so I can paint something really quick. This is where I was cutting those little tiny sequins to put in for the reflectors. And they're like a goldy yellow color, and I think they work really well for reflectors. You can see them right there. And then they wouldn't stay on, so I had to use a little toothpick that I had sitting there. Shove them on there. I adjusted my camera so you can see it, but I forgot that I sped up this video, so you couldn't really see that. But there you go, you can kind of get the picture there. And then I decided to add some black to the texture in the background. A lot of times with texture, it kind of gets lost and you don't really see it. So adding another color on top of that will give you some more of that dimension and make you be able to see the texture a little bit better. And I didn't really like as much as the black showing that is showing, so I did then go back over it with a little bit more silver just to tone it down a little bit here and there. I didn't want to add too much black because I didn't want it to look dirty. I just wanted it to be able to show that there's a lot of gears and chains and things like that texture-wise in the background, so I just wanted to be able to see that better. And I'm cutting off some of the canvas extra here so it will fit inside the frame better. And I found this frame at probably a Goodwill, honestly, thrift store probably. I go to thrift stores a lot to try and find frames because it's so much cheaper. So we're gonna glue this canvas right onto there. Gonna hold it down a little bit, trim some more off here. It doesn't hang over the edge. Trim. It's better to just not to make it bigger instead of like, and you can always cut a little bit more away instead of like making it too small and then you're like, oh no, it doesn't fit. So we're almost at the end here. Yeah, this is it. I'm signing it right here. Well, thank you for coming to my channel. And if you liked this content, give it a like and subscribe. Until next time, stay spooky, my friend.